Have you ever felt a deep sense of relief when plans get canceled, only to feel a quiet wave of guilt afterward? Actually, this isn't a sign of social anxiety, but your brain's unique way of protecting a lower stimulus threshold than others. First, I want you to know, you are not broken. For a long time, the world might have whispered that you're too quiet, socially awkward, or even a bit boring because you don't chase the same constant social buzz as everyone else. You might feel like you're constantly holding your breath, trying to match an energy level that simply doesn't fit your natural, internal rhythm. But I need you to understand that you are not the problem. You are about to feel very seen here. This isn't just a random quirk of your personality, it's a fundamental part of how your nervous system processes the world. By acknowledging this, we can lower those defenses you've built up and finally start to build some real trust. Because the truth is, your preference for solitude isn't a flaw, it's a design. Let's look at what the science actually says about your brain. So, why does your brain react this way to crowds or endless social obligations? Psychologists have spent years studying this exact phenomenon, and research shows that it truly comes down to how your brain processes outside stimulation. Neuroscience suggests that your internal reward system simply operates a little differently than in extroverts. Think of it like a volume knob for dopamine, that chemical in your brain that makes you feel excited or energized by the world around you. For many, that knob is set to a lower volume, so they constantly need loud environments, non-stop conversation, and social interaction just to feel a baseline level of energy. But for you, your volume is turned way up. Even a small amount of stimulation, like a busy coffee shop, a long meeting, or a loud party, can feel incredibly intense, draining your battery much faster than others. Studies have found that people who prefer solitude aren't avoiding people, they are simply managing their internal input. It's not about being antisocial, it's about being neurologically efficient. When you understand that this is just a biological setting, it stops feeling like a personal weakness and starts feeling like an internal operating system. This realization is where things get truly interesting. Once you understand the why behind your wiring, you can finally see why you respond to the world exactly the way you do. Let's break down how this manifests in your daily life through 3 specific psychological layers. This is where we peel back the layers of your daily experience. To understand why you feel this way, we need to look at 3 specific psychological patterns that define the solitude seeker mind. The high stimulus threshold number 1. Consider your sensory processing. Most people operate with a baseline that requires external noise to feel engaged. However, your brain is tuned for high-fidelity input. When you walk into a room full of people, your brain isn't just hearing conversation, it's analyzing micro-expressions, ambient noise, and shifting energy all at once. Psychologically, this is known as a lower stimulus threshold. Your brain is simply working harder than others in social environments. It's not that you can't handle people, it's that your internal processing is so efficient that you hit your saturation point much faster. The reflective loop, but here's where it gets interesting. While others are looking outward for validation, your mind is designed for what we call the reflective loop. Because you aren't constantly occupied by social stimuli, your brain utilizes that energy to map out complex patterns and deep-seated emotions. Think of it as a background process that never stops. You are constantly synthesizing experiences, refining your values, and building a more nuanced understanding of your own internal landscape. This is why people often describe you as a deep thinker or old soul. Your brain is physically wired to prioritize depth over breadth. Autonomous recharging. Finally, there is the wild part about how you regain energy. Many people believe that social interaction is the only way to recharge one's mood. For you, however, the most restorative state is internal. When you withdraw, you aren't hiding, you are engaging in an act of psychological maintenance. You are shifting your nervous system from a state of external alertness back to a state of internal coherence. Here is the secret: each of these traits, your sensitivity to noise, your reflective depth, and your need for autonomy, is actually a hidden layer of high-level intelligence. You aren't avoiding the world because you're weak. You're managing your internal environment to preserve the very perspective that makes you unique. But wait, before we go any further, I want you to hold that thought. We have spent this time looking at the science, but there is a truth about these traits that modern society often misses entirely. But hold on, there's a truth about this that conventional psychology rarely tells you. Take a second to really think about that. How many times has this flaw actually saved you from a mistake others made, or helped you see a truth that everyone else completely missed? You see, what society often labels a weakness is actually a profound psychological strength. That aversion you feel toward crowded places isn't a deficit. It's high sensitivity, allowing you to detect nuances that others completely overlook. Your tendency to stay home isn't antisocial. It's a necessary choice driven by your unique nervous system wiring. For those who have always felt misunderstood or self-reflective, this perspective shift is life-changing. You aren't just watching a video, you are experiencing genuine psychological relief and vital identity validation. This is where you trade old, heavy labels for intellectual self-respect, realizing your nature is not something to be fixed. As you begin to see the true, quiet power behind your wiring, let's take a moment to simply accept it. At the end of this, I want you to truly hear this. You are not broken. You are just different, and that is perfectly okay. You are wired for depth. In a world that often values constant noise, your ability to seek meaning is a beautiful, rare gift. Please, stop trying to force yourself into a mold that wasn't built for your unique mind. Breathe into the relief of finally understanding your own nature, because you truly are enough exactly as you are. If what we discussed today truly resonated with how your mind works, then you're definitely not alone. I love exploring these hidden, beautiful traits that make us who we are. Subscribe to our channel, let's find our people, and keep growing together.